Yan. So, in Genesis chapter 1, malinaw ang pagkakasabi ng Diyos doon. If we go backwards in the original translation of the Bible, which is written in Hebrew, the word good means perfect. Good means perfect. In other words, everything He created in the space are all organized, no? May sukat, natuklasan na ng mga scientists yan. Pati yung tao na ginawa niya ay perfectly made. Nasa tamang posisyon yung mata, nasa tamang posisyon yung ilong, bibig, tenga, at yung ating katawan, di ba? Nag-nursing kayo, pinag-aralan niyo yung katawan ng tao. I'm sure nakita ninyo na very organized, no? Yung positioning ng ating mga vital organs. Okay? At bawat position niya may purpose. Bakit siya nandito? Bakit siya katabi ng atay? Bakit siya katabi ng bituka? Di ba? Kapag-aralan niyo yun, may purpose. Oh, very organized yung katawan natin. Kung hindi organized kasi, pwedeng yung mata natin, pakalat-kalat, yung isang mata nandito, yung isa nasa likod, yung ilong nasa tagiliran natin, di ba? Ano itsura natin, no? Mukha tayong freak. So, from the beginning, ang lahat ng creation ay perfect. Atras pa tayo. What is perfect ba? Perfect means alignment. Naka-align sa design ng Diyos, sa design ng earth, sa design ng buhay, sa design ng marriage, everything. So that's the meaning of perfect. Kaya may problema talaga kung sa word perfect mismo ay hindi natin maintindihan yung totoong kahulugan. Okay? Parang nagdo-drawing ka, halimbawa, nagdo-drawing ka, tapos tagilid. Ay, bakit tagilid? Nung inayos mo, uy, pantay na, perfect na. Di ba ganun lang? Ganun lang kasimple yung meaning ng perfect. So, if we discuss the perfect marriage naman, how can we say na mayroong perfect marriage? Lalo na kung wala naman tayong model na nakita sa ating kapitbahay, unang-una sa ating magulang, kung hindi nila napakita sa atin ang isang perfect marriage, hindi na tayo maniniwala. Kung mga tsuhin-tsahin natin, puro hiwalay din, how can we believe sa perfect marriage? So, may factor din yung ating environment, no? Kung bakit natin paniniwalaan yung perfect marriage. Kung paano natin paniniwalaan. Pero kung nabuhay ka naman sa responsible parents, buo sila, at marami kang kaibigan, kakilala, kamag-anak na they're all perfectly aligned to each other, nagmamahala, nagkakainan sabay-sabay, nagpipiknik, parang walang problema. Pag tinignan mo sila, di ba? We can also consider that as perfect. So, laliman pa natin ang meaning ng perfect. Pag kayo mag-asawa, expect nyo on your wedding day, people will give you advices. Ano yung common advice na naririnig nyo pag umaattend kayo ng wedding? Pinaka-common sa matatanda.
Huwag mag-away.
Huwag mag-away. Ano pa? Di ba meron lagi sila sinasabi, put God in the center of your relationship? Put God. Taga pinag-isipan yun. Kasi nag-MC na ako ng wedding simula 1990 eh. So, I think mga thousand weddings na yun na atinan ko, no? Not just singing or MCing in a wedding, but also solemnizing their marriage and also giving them counsel before the wedding. Hindi naman nila ma-explain kung ano ibig sabihin nun, putting God. Ano ba yun? Mababa si God the moment na nagpirma na tayo sa marriage contract, the moment na nagpakasal na tayo sa altar. I discovered, hindi naman pala ganun yun, yung bababaan Diyos, parang inuutosan natin siya, no? Baba kayo, Lord, sa aming pagsasama, sa aming marriage, i-bless nyo kami. Alam niyo ba nakasalalay sa atin yung pagbaba ng Diyos sa ating marriage? Kasi God will never dwell in holy in unholy temples. Did you hear that? Hindi siya nagdudwell sa unholy bodies. No? Bago magdwell ang Diyos sa ating katawan, ay kailangan muna malinis ito. Paano ito nalilinis? How do you speak to each other? How do you talk to your wife? How do you talk to your husband? Ano ba sinasabi ng marriage? Husbands, love your wives and do not be harsh to them. Diba? How do you speak to your wife? May halong pambubulyaw ba? Kung makapag-usap ka sa wife mo? May halong paninigaw? Walang halong lambing yung pagsasalita mo sa wife mo? You are an unholy being. Hindi magdudwell ang God sa iyo. Dahil you are violating what God says to you as a husband. Hindi siya opinion, hindi siya suggestion, no? When God speaks, it's a law, no? Hindi subject sa iyong kondisyon or 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 stipulation na Lord, paano ko siya mamahalin? Hindi naman niya ako nirerespeto. Walang ganon sa Diyos. Hindi tayo entitled doon. Now, pag sa wife naman, ano ang sabi ng Bible sa wife? Wives, submit yourself to your husband. May karugtong pa yon. Submission and respect. Di ba? Paano magdudwell ang Diyos sa iyo? Kung makipag-usap ka sa husband mo, iniinsulto mo. Paano magdudwell ang Diyos sa katawan mo kung makipag-usap ka sa husband mo, minamaliit mo? No? Yun ang mga kailangan tanungin. At saka natin masasabing kasama natin ang Diyos sa ating marriage. Kasi malinis na yung ating pagkatao. Kasi sumusunod tayo sa commandment niya. Now you understand what a perfect marriage is. Kung ano ang sitwasyon ninyong dalawa, kung holy ang inyong pagkatao, holy ang inyong temple, doon magdudwell ang Diyos sa inyong buhay. Okay? So don't forget that. Now, pag-usapan natin ang true marriage and family design, pero principles muna. First law, our priority dapat. Diyan nagkakamali ang maraming couples sa priority. No? Ano ba dapat pina-priority pag nag-asawa? Yung parents na naiwan na walang bahay at pinag-iipunan mo habang nag-asawa ka? That's a problem. Kapag pumasok ka sa marriage with that focus or priority na yung parents mo na naghihirap, yung mga siblings mo na naghihirap, yung priority mo habang ikaw ay nag-asawa, magma-malfunction ang marriage. Bakit? Kasi may instructions na when a male, pag nag-asawa, the male will leave his father and mother and cling into his wife. Pag sinabing iiwan or leave his father and mother, talagang tatlong bagay yung iiwanan mo doon, yung tatlong aspect ng ating pagkatao. Yung physical, psychological, and spiritual. Yan yung tatlong aspect na puputulin mo sa parents mo. Kaya napakahalaga na ang ating parents, kapag iniwan natin, pag tayo ay nag-asawa, they can stand alone. Na hindi natin sila iisipin pa. Kung may makain ba sila o wala, kung may bahay ba sila o wala, kung may damit ba sila, kung may gamot ba sila. It is required for every parent now to be standing alone para naman yung anak na bumuo ng sariling pamilya, makafocus siya dun sa kanyang bagong pamilya. 'Di ba? Husband's true role to the wife and the family, pag-uusapan din natin 'yan. Pati ang wife at yung economics, how to sustain your needs and the happily ever after life you both desire. Okay. Hindi natin pag-uusapan dito yung mga words na ito, yung mga nakagis na, depende kasi, nakaugalian na, nakaramihan kasi sir kadalasan kasi sir hindi ito ang pagbabasehan natin sa ating learning session. Dahil Itong mga words na ito ay gawa ng tao. Kumbaga, they want to please themselves by making the laws of God suggestions. No? Kumbaga, susunod na lang sila sa ginagawa ng marami kahit mali. Kasi sir, ang dami na kasing ganito, ang dami na kasi. Parang wala na tayong choice, no? Wala tayong magawa. Kasi sir, ang dami nag-aaway ng mag-asawa. Kasi ang dami naghihiwalay, no? Ano yun? Parang wala ka ng choice. Kumbaga, yung decision mo, nakaayon na ba doon sa ginagawa ng marami? Di ba? That's something that you need to think about. So, ano ang difference ng happy family sa broken family? Alam niyo ba kung ano? Na nakita namin yung difference nila, big difference ay ang kanilang mentality. Somebody entered marriage with with a different focus, which is outside the marriage. Somebody entered marriage with the right mentality. Nakatuon siya doon sa mismong design ng marriage. Kaya hindi sila nagmamalfunction. Maayos ang kanilang pagsasama. Kahit na hindi nila pinag-aralan, they discovered from themselves na, oy, hindi yata tama, no? Parang logic na lang yung gagana sa kanila eh, kung wala silang knowledge about the marriage design. Pwedeng dahil sa mabait sila sa isa't isa, hindi sila nag-iinsultuhan. Di ba? And they are doing the right thing kasi yun ang nakasulat eh. Oh. At si husband ay maasikaso sa wife na. Hindi na papabayaan. So, anong ang effect nun sa kanilang dalawa? Eh di, nasusupply yung needs ng bawat isa. Hindi kailangan mag-demand, hindi kailangan mag-expect, but everybody, no, each of you knows the needs of each other. Yun ang totoong secret ng maayos na nagsasama. They understand each other. They know each other. Kaya nga, napakahalaga na ini-scan mo yung asawa mo simula pagkabata hanggang present. Pati nga yung future, kailangan pag-usapan ng dalawa eh. Di ba? Ini-scan mo para makilala mo ng husto at alam mo paano mo siya i-deal. Alam mo kung paano mo siya mamahalin. Alam mo kung paano mo siya i-respeto. Alam mo yung timing, kung kailan mo siya dapat i-approach. No? Those areas are related to your partner. Bakit? Kasi yung first process ng pag-aasawa ay yung development muna ng iyong sarili. That's the first step. Developing yourself before loving or offering yourself to another person. Kapag hindi ka na-develop sa part na yon, yung proseso na yon, hindi ka natapos, tapos nag-asawa ka bigla, then you have a lot of challenges to deal with. Okay? So, I'm going to show you a video what the Catholic Church expects from both of you when you get married. Okay? Itong expectation ng church sa inyo kapag kayo ay nag-asawa. And you have to comply with it. Not just because kailangan. So, compliance is unconditional. Hindi siya binibigyan ng anumang kondisyon. Because hindi tayo entitled doon. Mhm. Okay, kikita niyo yung video? Napakinggan niyo ba? Pinost ko muna eh.
Apa. Pero wala pong image.
Sound.
Pero may sound po.
Okay. May mga kailangan ako i-close yata. Yan, para lumabas siya. Dami naka-open. So listen carefully and take down notes para mas matandaan ninyo.
Yeah.
Yan na. Loud and clear?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm Catholic and I'm getting married next year. With everything else I have to worry about, why is it important that I have a Catholic wedding?
These days, the sacrament of matrimony, or marriage in the Catholic Church, can raise a lot of questions for a bride and groom-to-be. Everything from, why does it have to be a Catholic wedding? To, why does the Church require marriage preparation? To, why are we talking about children already? We're only just engaged. In this video, we'll attempt to answer those questions. We'll talk about what a marriage in the Catholic Church is all about, and discuss how including God in your marriage can make all the difference.
The vocation of marriage is written in the very nature of man and woman, as they came from the hand of the Creator. Marriage is not purely a human institution.
Catholics describe marriage as a vocation, a call from God to live our lives in a certain way. It's not merely getting an official piece of paper with both your names on it, or the next logical step if you've been dating a while. Marriage is the permanent, faithful, and fruitful union of a man and a woman who have entered into a covenant relationship of love with one another and with God. Our society might easily define marriage as a contract between two people that has conditions and may be terminated under certain circumstances. But for Catholics, the marriage covenant is, as we pray in the wedding ceremony, sealed and strengthened by God and may not be dissolved. The couple pledge unconditional love for the rest of their lives. That's why we say it's for life, or permanent. So a civil marriage, one that doesn't involve the Church, is a very different thing from the sacrament of marriage. So much so that the Church essentially doesn't consider a couple to be really married in that case. We would view a couple that is only civilly married in the same way we would view a boyfriend and girlfriend living together. As Catholics, we're asked to keep God present in every part of our lives, in work, family, activities we do, and choices we make. Why would an important lifelong commitment like marriage be any different?
Why does it take so long to get married in the Catholic Church?
Remember, marriage is a sacrament, so just like communion and confirmation, there needs to be time spent in preparing for it. And, similar to ordination, marriage is a vocation for life. If you were choosing the color of shirt you were going to wear for the rest of your life, or the kind of car you were going to drive, wouldn't you spend some time considering your decision? That's why we want to make sure a couple is well prepared for marriage, to prevent something impulsive or hasty from occurring. Couples wishing to marry in the Catholic Church are usually asked to meet with a priest or someone from the church staff at least 6 to 12 months before the wedding.
What kind of advice can a celibate priest give to a couple about marriage?
Priests get this question a lot, and it would be a fair question if marriage preparation only consisted of a priest telling an engaged couple how best to live their married life. It doesn't. Priests provide a spiritual component of marriage prep, but in most cases, lay people, married couples, are the primary guides in Catholic marriage preparation.
So what exactly is Catholic marriage preparation?
Marriage preparation isn't just some time-consuming, burdensome hoop that the Church makes couples jump through, but rather a tool to help them create a loving, faithful, and lifelong marriage from the very beginning. This process, sometimes called pre-Cana, is a little different in each diocese, but in general will include the spirituality of marriage, reflections on raising children, practical things like finances, communication, and problem solving, and some focus on the benefits of natural family planning. The most important part of this process, however, is preparing the couple to truly mean what they will say during their wedding ceremony. Unlike at Mass, where it's the priest's duty to know and understand the prayers and blessings inside and out, what makes the sacrament of matrimony valid are the promises made by the bride and groom. Have you come here freely and without reservation to give yourselves to each other in marriage? Will you love and honor each other as husband and wife for the rest of your lives? Will you accept children lovingly from God and bring them up according to the law of Christ and His church? Do you promise to be true to each other in good times and bad, in sickness and health, to love and honor each other all the days of your lives? Do you know what it means to say yes to these questions for life? And can you? Because if not, the sacrament is literally invalid. You are the ministers of the sacrament. It all hangs on you. So that's why it's important to discuss all of these intentions and promises in detail during marriage preparation, so the couple can fully understand what they're committing to and make sure they're both absolutely ready on the day they say, "I do."
What do our future kids have to do with anything? And why does the church even insist we have children?
Remember how we defined marriage? Permanent, faithful, and fruitful love. Here's where the fruitful part comes in. The church teaches that the sacrament of matrimony has two equally important purposes: the uniting of husband and wife through a total gift of self, and the procreating and educating of children born as the fruit of their love.
The couple, while giving themselves to one another, give not just themselves, but also the reality of children, who are a living reflection of their love, a permanent sign of conjugal unity, and a living and inseparable synthesis of their being a father and a mother.
It's not just about two people. It's about the family those two will create together. A husband and wife are asked to openly accept and welcome children into their lives, thus becoming a family. In fact, this is a requirement for a Catholic marriage. If an engaged couple won't even consider having children, they cannot celebrate the Catholic sacrament of matrimony. Why? Because marriage is about selfless love. When a couple becomes parents, they are then truly at the service of others. An important and rewarding part of this sacrament is two parents handing their moral, spiritual, and faith life over to their children. It's what we refer to as the domestic church. In other words, faith begins at home.
Wait, I have more questions.
We'll answer more common questions about Catholic marriage in another Sacraments 101 video. But for now, the most important thing to remember is that the sacrament of matrimony is a sacred bond that mirrors the unconditional and everlasting love that God has for all His creation.
Okay. Gusto ko malaman kung anong pagkakaintindi nyo sa mga narinig ninyo sa video. Sa isay natin. Sheena.
Ano po, marriage is a contract, and then marriage is sealed and strengthened by God and cannot be dissolved.
Iyon, kahit sinong tao, walang pwedeng magpahiwalay sa inyo. Si John, ano kaya natutunan mo dyan sa video?
Ang marriage po is faithful and fruitful.
Faithful and fruitful, na dapat daw we maintain to be faithful para maging fruitful. No? Yun po ibig sabihin nun. If you remain faithful to one another, you will be fruitful. Ano yung fruitful? Pwede pandugtungan yun. Yung mga magiging anak ninyo ay magiging masunuring bata. No? Fruitful means fruit-bearing tree na na-enjoy ng tao. No? Of course, pag mayroon kang anak na functional, galing sa pagiging fruitful ninyo dalawa, ang tao sa paligid ay natutuwa because you have produced a functional human being in the society. Di ba? Not only that, yung pagiging fruitful ninyo mag-asawa ay galing sa pareho ninyo pagsisikap dahil sa paniniwala ninyo sa bawat isa. Okay? So, hindi lang siya faith to God, but also faith to yourselves. Faith to one another. Sa kaya ninyong gawin. Okay? Yung kaya ninyong i-produce na money for the needs of the family. Ganun po yun. Malawak yan pag-usapan. Pero later on, we will be able to discuss that. At napansin nyo ba, naalala nyo, na kapag sinabi nyo sa simbahan na hindi pa kami ready mag-anak, gusto lang namin magsama, alam nyo bang hindi kayo ikakasal ng simbahan? Narinig nyo yung kanina?
Ngayon ko lang po nalaman yun.
Yeah. Because the church expects you na to produce offspring. Hindi yung pipigilan nyo dahil hindi pa kaya ng katawan nyo or hindi kaya ng finances, no? Hindi natutuwa ang church doon. It only means you are not ready. Para bang gusto nyo lang mag-asawa for sex enjoyment, no? Yung ma-enjoy yung sex ng libre, magkaroon ng kapartner, kausap sa bahay, di ba? Hindi ganoon kasi ang marriage eh. The church expects you to produce children, pero not producing all the time to the point na hindi na kaya ng finances natin. Kasama yung financial management na dapat ninyong matutunan pareho by studying and discussing on the table. Teka muna, ready na ba tayong magkaroon ng pangalawang anak? Magkano ang sahod natin ngayon? Magkano magiging sahod natin in 2 years time? Tataas ba? Mapopromote ba tayo in 2 years time? Di ba? You need to sit down and discuss that bago magparami. Okay? Ganyan po ang pagmamanage ng family. Hindi yung basta gusto lang natin, gusto natin. Paano kung taon-taon buntis si Sheena? Diyan. Di ba? Kailangan ng, di ba, natural birth control yung tinuturo ng simbahan. Hindi pwedeng gumamit ng kung ano-anong pills o scientific way of controlling children. Natural method yung tinuturo ng simbahan. Which is, kailangan nyo pag-aralan kung kailan ka fertile at hindi fertile. Sheena, may obligation ka ngayon to study your body. Ha? Kapag kinalabit ka na dyan, alam mo na fertile ka or hindi. Ha? Dyan? Para hindi ka lagi nag-i-expect dyan. Kasi scientifically din, ang lalaki, 2 to 3 days, nagpo-produce ng sperm. Kailangan ilabas. No? Napag-aralan nyo rin yata yan sa nursing, di ba? So, kailangan ilabas yan. May factory ng sperm sa katawan so kailangan i-release. Pero yung pag-release niyan, it has to be managed also because that's very powerful, no? Very powerful yung sperm na yan. Pag na mismanage, talagang dadami anak mo. Okay? Any questions so far? Wala naman. Okay, let's talk about the design of marriage at the time the first marriage happened. Dito na tayo. Skip ko na iba because masyadong malalim ang usapan diyan sa principles. But remember that principles is the first law. Okay? Principles are first law. You cannot negotiate about that. Now, kung papansin nyo, yung relationship is also a creation of God. Bawat isang produkto ay mayroong desire to stick to one another para mabuhay na matagal. Yan ang tawag ay relationship, no? Dependency to one another. For example, yung mga isda, they have to stay in the water para humaba buhay nila. Di ba? Merong design na sticking together para mag-function well. And this is called relationship. And mga birds, di ba? Kung hindi mo yan papakawalan, malulungkot yan sa cage, iiks yung buhay. Bakit? They are designed to fly. No? Yung wings nila are purposely to enjoy the air. Ganun din sa mga animals natin, di ba? Pag inalis natin yan sa kanilang natural environment, mapupunta sa atin yung obligation for them to live normally. Pero sila, they can live, they can grow, they can be fruitful in their natural habitat even without the human being's intervention. Okay? I hope you understand that. Now, sa human being, we need to be attached to one another para humaba buhay natin. Kung meron pa tayong parents, di ba, naka-attach tayo sa kanila para tayo ay maging functional, attached tayo sa parents natin. The moment na nag-asawa na tayo, mapaputol na nga yung attachment natin sa kanila, kanina na tayo attach. Doon sa asawa natin. Okay? So, you created another relationship. Kasi ang first relationship mo ay yung parents and you. This time, it's between the both of you. Yan ang relationship na binuo nyo ngayon. So, the origin of marriage, diyan nagsimula ang pagiging dependency ng male sa female. Diyan natin makikita na nagkaroon ng need for the male to be with the female to function well. So, babalikan natin yung Genesis. Bakit ba nangyari yun? At yung marriage versus wedding, you always hear people say, wedding is a day, a marriage is a lifetime, which is true naman. Which actually means yung marriage, it's divine. No? Divine ang marriage. Kumbaga, it's from God. Yung wedding, it's the legal side. Bakit nagkaroon ng legal side? Because this is the time where you have to sign voluntarily in a document na dictated ng Estado na kapag bumitaw ka sa pangako mo, sa pinirmahan mo dyan, sa wedding document, ay meron kang pananagutan sa batas. No? Hahabulin ka ng batas kung ikaw ay tatalikod sa pinirmahan mo. Yun po ang ibig sabihin ng wedding. Kaya na-invento ang wedding. Kasi before naman, marriage lang eh. Papakita lang sa mga tao na sila ay kinakasal. Wala pa namang pakikialam ng Estado. Pero kasi pag bumitaw na ang tao sa kasal nila, tatakbo ang tao sa gobyerno. O nai-involve na yung gobyerno. So ang ginawa ng gobyerno ay gumawa ng batas para pag lumapit yung complainant na iniwanan, may power yung Estado na gumalaw, kumilos, o pumirma ka sa kontrata. Alam mo bang yung pagpirma mo dito, meron kang naka-attach na mga legal obligation? So nagkakaroon ng power and authority ngayon, yung government, to act in your behalf kapag ikaw ay namproblema, kapag bumitaw yung isa sa inyo. Now, the family, foundation of our nation, ano ba ibig sabihin? Yun yung nasa ilalim ng layer ng ating bansa na siya nagpapatibay, which is invisible. Kaya akala ng marami, hindi na yung family yung pundasyon. Kaya kung ano-anong law ang ginagawa ng Kongreso natin, gumagawa ng LGBT law, gumagawa ng divorce law, gumagawa ng vowsy law, no? Most of these law are hindi effective. Mas lalong nasisira ang family kung pag-aaralan mo lang, which is pinag-aralan na rin namin. Hindi siya mga effective measures, no? Ano ang mas effective measures? Ituro mo ang tama sa umpisa pa lang ng bawat nag-aasawa. Okay? So, for these natural products like us, male and female, to function well, they need each other. We need each other. They require each other. It is called relationship. So, this is a first law or a supreme law, highest law, not invented by humans. So, when two products join, it is called relationship. So, when male and a female joined their bloods, they just activated the first supreme law called covenant. So, marriage is a covenant. Hindi siya promises. In other words, it's also called vows. No? Vows are made to God while promises are made by human beings, between the two human beings. Nandun ang meaning ng promises. Pero pag marriage, this is a covenant of both of you to God. Kayong dalawa, yun ang nangako sa Diyos. Kasi pareho niya kayong produkto. Hindi kayo yung nagbabaw sa isa't isa. Kayong dalawa mismo as one body ay telling God that we will unite our bodies and we will live together forever according to thy standards. Yun ang sinasabi nyo sa Diyos. Okay? Hindi nyo yan sinasabi sa isa't isa. Kaya magkaroon man kayo ng personal vows, you are actually telling God that you will love and respect and honor each other for the rest of your life. Okay? So, the Bible defines marriage as a covenant, and as I've explained, it's a holy covenant before God. Malachi chapter 2, verse 14. Okay? When you activated first laws, you have no right to deactivate it. When it's not your own product, you have no right to tamper it. Remember these principles. These are principles. First law, not created or made by human beings. No turning back anymore, because marriage is also a product of supreme law where God is the supreme author. So, Mark chapter 10 verse 9 sabi, what therefore God has joined together, let not man put asunder. Which means, kahit na anong problema pa ang dinadanas ninyo, separation is not your option. Okay? Because no human being is authorized on earth to separate you. Okay? Yun po ibig sabihin nun. Kahit kanino pa kayo lumapit, kahit sino pang kataas-taasang hukuman yan, they have no right to separate you. Only in paper. Oh. But in the eyes of God, you are still married. Kaya pag nag-second time ka, you are activating another blood covenant. Kaya pag pumalpak ka pa rin dyan sa second time, talagang your life will be destroyed. Okay? Okay lang kung wala kang idea yung bago ka nagpakasal, hindi ka naturuan ng tama, may excuse ka pa eh. Pag second time, ginawa mo pa rin, tapos nagkamali ka uli, hindi ka na excuse. Okay? So, marriage is the first and original institution in the world. It was established already bago pa nagkaroon ng mga gobyerno or barangay or congress or senado. Nauna yan, marriage, pinakaunang institusyon. It is not a product of the state. Kaya, walang karapatan ng estado na mag-dictate actually kung ano gagawin ng husband and wife sa kanilang marriage. No? Ang mga batas lang na pwedeng gawin ng gobyerno ay supposed to be para dun sa mga tumalikod sa kanilang pinangako. Okay? Yun lang. Hanggang dun lang kayang gawin ng batas ng gobyerno. Pero yung magdi-dictate sa inyong dalawa kung anong dapat ninyong gawin sa isa't isa, how will you handle your family? No. It's God who should dictate upon you what to do to each other, how to treat each other. Hindi rin yan creation ng mga philosophers na kung sino-sino. So, God being the designer, siya nakakaalam kung saan area ang kailangan nyong gawin para mag-function normally ang inyong marriage. At ma-discover ninyo ang mga benefits attached to this institution. Maraming benefits sa pag-aasawa. Pinag-aralan na yan sa US na kapag tama ang ginagawa ng mag-asawa, lumalago ang buhay, kakaroon ng maraming kita daw yung dalawa, humahaba ang buhay kesa sa mga single. No, they studied that already in the US. I think Pennsylvania. At marami pang benefits ang nakukuha ng mga may asawa sa walang asawa. And you should enjoy that. So pag hindi nyo na-enjoy yun, something is wrong. Diba? Parang 5 years o 10 years, parang hirap na hirap pa rin kayo sa buhay, no? Something is wrong. Alam niyo ba sa first 5 years, doon kayo sinusubok na pag-isahin at mataas ang hiwalayan sa first 5 years, statistically. Worldwide, kahit saan bansa ka magtanong, lahat ng nag-asawa, within 5 years, nagka-problema, hindi kinaya, naghiwalay. Yung first 5 years, yung pinakamataas na statistics ng hiwalaya. At malalaman nyo later kung bakit. Now, ang human being cycle ay nagsimula lamang sa male. Sa lalaki. Kagaya na nangyari sa Garden of Eden, di ba? Paano ba nagsimula ang family? O di nagsimula sa male. Then, kung walang maniniwalang female sa offer or proposal ni male, wala magiging marriage. Pero pag naniwala, magkakaroon ng marriage. Intindihan nyo? Di ba? Kung hindi pumayag si Sheena sa proposal ni John, walang marriage na mangyayari. Mukhang nabola ni John si Sheena, no? Napaniwala. John, can I say that nabola? Di ba? Napaniwala mo si Sheena, kaya magkakaroon ngayon ng marriage. Okay? Dahil wala namang babaeng nag-aalok ng kasal sa lalaki. Meron na ba kayo na-meet na ganun? Yung babae mismo nagsasabi sa lalaki, no? Pakasal na tayo. Birang-bira yun. Hindi kaya ng dibdib niya yun, di ba, Sheena? Hindi kaya ng dibdib ng mga babae yun. Yung sila mismo magsabi sa lalaki na pakasal. Hindi. Alam niyo bang may isang couple ako nakausap na siya mismo yung nag-alok ng kasal doon sa lalaki. Kaya nagka-windang-windang yung marriage nila ngayon eh. Nag-asawa siya ng Indian na hindi pa pala tapos sa pagpapaligaya sa sarili niya. So, ayun. Kahit na may anak na silang 1-year-old o 2 years old na babae, ayun. Kung sino-sino pang babae pinapatulan. Kaya, inalam ko yung istorya nila. Matras ako pabalik. Siya pala yung nag-alok ng kasal doon sa lalaki. Diyan nagsimula problema mo. Yung design ng marriage na ano mo na pinakialaman mo, tinamper mo, no? Tinamper mo yung design ng marriage by offering marriage to a human, to a male, no? To a male, tinamper niya. Tapos ang sagot ng male sa kanya, sige, tanongin ko parents ko kung pwede na ako mag-asawa. Saan mo nakakita ng lalaking gano'n, no? Matapos opera ng kasal, nag-isip pa para konsultahin yung parents. So, from the beginning, ay meron ng defect. That's why yung marriage nila talaga, after a few years, ay nag-malfunction. Kasi hindi na nangyari yung design. Kaya, eto na, kakaroon ng marriage, magkakaroon kayo ng children, magkakaroon ng tinatawag na family. Di ba? So, kung nasan man kayong location, if neighbor ninyo created a family also, another neighbor created a family, and so on and so forth, you will be called a community. Community is from the word common, unity. Common unity. Meron kayong common na paniniwala to live in a place, to live in that place peacefully and with harmony. Di ba? Gusto nyo pare-pareho ng peace of mind, kaya doon kayo nakatira. Sama-sama kayo nakatira doon. Kasi kung merong maingay doon, hindi bagay eh. Hindi bagay yung pamilya na yun doon eh, di ba? Kinaiinisan natin eh. Baka later on, ipapa-eject natin sa village eh. Hindi kayo bagay dito, may ingay kayo. Di ba? That is a community idea na living peaceful life in a peaceful place. So, more communities created, can a nation be also created? Okay? Kaya po nagiging basehan ng pag-create sa isang bansa once na communities, hindi na mabilang, are already created. Okay? So, diyan po nagsimula ang ating mankind, humanity. Saan? Sa lalaki. Kaya pag pinag-aralan nyo ang Bible, laging kumakausap ang Diyos sa lalaki. Because sa lalaki naka-entrust ang future ng family. Maging ng bansa. Okay? So, family daw ang foundation according to Article 15 ng Philippine Constitution. Maging sa family ko, inulit, being the foundation of the nation daw, na iniingatan at pinoprotektahan ng Estado. Okay? Now, Socrates said, the beginning of wisdom is a definition of terms. Magiging wise ka daw pag naintindihan mo yung word, pag na-define mo ng tama. Which we did in the word perfect at the early part of our session. Diba? Yun pala talaga yung dapat natin gawin. I-define yung words, then we would understand everything else. So in defining the family, sabi ni Wikipedia, family is a group of people related either by consanguinity, by dugo, or affinity, dahil sa marriage. Affinity or consanguinity. Now, Wikipedia is very practical or reasonable in giving definitions because sa ibang dictionary, like the Oxford Dictionary, like the English Standard Dictionary, iba ang definition nila ng family. Alam niyo ba kung ano? Definition nila ng family, pwedeng male to male, living together, or both females living together. That's how they define family, which is wrong. Diba? Kaya yung dictionary nila, naka-design siya in such a way na pabor sa kanilang culture. Yung mga dictionary nila. Kaya we really have to get the actual truth or most reasonable meaning na base doon sa Bible. Kasi kung walang Bible, wala tayong pagbabasihan eh. Lagi lang tayo manghuhula. John, can you read this to us?
Simula po sa top.
Yeah, please.
In most societies, it is within families that children acquire socialization for life outside the family. Additionally, as the basic unit for meeting the basic needs of its members, it provides a sense of boundaries for performing tasks in a safe environment. Ideally builds a person into a functional adult, transmits culture, and ensures continuity of humankind within the precedent of knowledge.
Yan. It is within family daw, sa loob ng pamilya daw, na yung mga bata ay natututong makapag-socialize muna. Ano ba yung buhay sa labas? Ano ba yung makikita namin sa labas? Bago kami lumabas ng bahay. Okay? So, dapat matutunan muna nila sa inyong dalawa yan. Socialization. Bakit? Because it provides a sense of boundaries. Magkakaroon siya ng boundary. Alam niya kung ano yung dapat niyang gawin para hindi siya masaktan. Di ba? It provides a sense of boundaries for performing tasks in a safe environment. So pag alam niyang bawal manakit ng bata, bawal mang-agaw ng laruan, safe yung kanyang environment. Walang mananakit sa kanya. Naintindihan niyo? Di ba? Because nasabihan niyo, anak, bawal mang-agaw ng laruan ha. Anak, bawal manakit. Anak, bawal gawin to. Huwag mong gagawin to sa kapwa mo. So, safe yung kanyang environment because he knows what to do. Hindi siya masasaktan. Walang mananakit na tao sa kanya. Hindi siya gagantihan. Okay? And ideally builds a person into a functional adult. So, itong pinaka-purpose ng family. To build a person into a functional adult. So, natatransmit niya yan sa kanyang kapwa, sa kanyang mga kalaro. Kung siya ay marunong magpo at opo, mahihiya na lang yung mga kalaro niya na hindi nag-o-opo po, di ba? Mahihiya na siya sobrang galang kapag usap, sobrang respectable sa mga matatanda, no? Mahihiya yung anak mong hindi marunong rumespeto doon itabi yun sa batang ganun Okay? Kasi nga malakas yung malakas yung impact niyan sa mga taong hindi naturuan na magulang. Kaya pag siya ay naihalo sa mga batang hindi naturuan, malaki ang impact niyan. Ang iniisip nila ay kakaiba tong batang ito. 'Di ba? One time kumakain ako sa McDonald's nakita ko yung mga anak nung isang family. Yung 3 dalagang anak, mga dalagita. Abay, nung kumain sila, niligpit nila. Nilagay sa basurahan yung kanilang kinainan. Yung mga anak, pag kinainan din nila, pila-pila doon sa basura, tinatapon nila isa-isa. Aba, bibihira yung ganitong Pilipino. Di ba? Bibihira yung ganong may mga family na trained yung mga anak magtapon ng direct sa basura. Kakatuwang tingnan. So, it transmits culture. Ano may nakikita sa anak natin, no? Pwedeng maggayahin yan, pwedeng malipat yan kung kani-kanino. So, kung maganda yung mapapasa nila, talagang gaganda ang ating community. It ensures continuity of humankind with precedence of knowledge. And another purpose given by Wikipedia is to maintain the well-being of its members and of society. So, lahat ng bagay sa mundo may purpose. And that includes the family. At hindi lang yun. Every human being has a purpose. Tandaan niyo yan. Kaya kung hindi mo pa nakikita ang purpose mo ngayon, Sheena and John, ano bang purpose niyo sa mundo? Why do you exist? And you need to know that by prayers. And God will make sure na you will never miss that because ilalagay ka niya sa place or places that you will never miss that purpose. Which happened to me also. I found my purpose. Kaya nagkaroon ng meaning yung bawat pagising ko. Hindi ako konting depression, bigay na ako. Hindi. Because I found my purpose and this has given me the strength to move on forward until I reach my goal or my vision in life. So remember that marriage is not about you anymore. You are now both legally obligated to produce functional and godly offspring. Nandyan yan sa Malakay chapter 2 verse 15. Has not the Lord made them one? Hindi ba pinag-isa kayo ng Diyos? In flesh and in spirit? Kayo ay pag-aari niya? And why one? Bakit kayo pinag-isa? Because, itong reason, no? Anong reason, Sheena? Pakibasa? Because
he was seeking godly offspring.
yan ang reason. Kung bakit niya kayo pinagsama. He is expecting from you godly offspring. So, just imagine this world filled with ungodly children. Pag naglakihan yan, yan ang sisira mismo ng mundo. Yan ang sisira mismo ng buhay ng iba. Yung mga ungodly children na pakalat-kalat. So, we go now to the husband's true role. Naintindihan niyo na yung design ng marriage ngayon? And purpose of the family? We will go deeper sa Genesis later on. Yan. Dito na tayo sa role mo. John. Building the foundation, husband-father's etymology, husband-father's job description. How serious yung role mo as a in a family? As a father, John? Sobrang serious. Unang-una sa titulo pa lang, no? Yung title ng pangalan mo. Galing yan sa word na house bond. Anong meaning ng house bond? The one who binds the house together. Okay? Kaya napansin niyo for every issue in the family, for every problem in the family, laging nararamdaman natin. Tanungin muna natin si tatay, no? Dapat si tatay yung masusunod. Di ba? We have that feeling because siya yung supreme authority sa pamilya eh. Because siya yung expected to bind the house together. Galing yan sa kanyang titulo. At yan ang purpose ng kanyang titulo. Nakakabit pareho. Nakikita niyan sa different sources from Google. Ito din, husband is also called occupier or tiller, which means tiller, para mag-grow ang members ng family mo, John, ay kailangan mo maging cultivator. Again, we are a natural product. Just like any plant, any tree, we need to grow and become fruitful. Because tayo ay also natural product. At kasama dyan si Sheena na kailangan mag-grow and become fruitful someday. Like a fruitful tree. At ikaw dyan ang may obligasyong gawin siyang fruitful. Kaya challenge yan sa bawat babae kapag yung lalaki ay walang goal to help you grow. To help his wife grow. Challenge yan sa bawat babae. Pag hindi alam ng lalaki yung kanyang job description, na siya pala yung merong obligasyon to help you grow. Yung bang eto ka, Sheena, kinuha ka sa magulang mo na tinira ka sa bahay ni John, And that becomes your environment. Kaya yung environment mo na yan ay dapat maging source mo ng water, sunlight, fertilizer for you to grow. Naintindihan nyo? Naintindihan mo dyan? Kaya magmamalfunction si Sheena kapag ikaw lang yung nag-grow. Magmamalfunction yan. Bakit? Because every human being has the capacity to grow and be fruitful. And you have to know that. Both of you, wala nga niyong pag-aralan niya. Tulad namin mag-asawa. Nakatutok ako sa marriage counseling. Siya nakatutok sa dispute resolution. O di ba magkalapit? Wala competition sa bawat sa amin. Because yun ang naging naging expertise niya. At kinuha siya ng Supreme Court to help in the mediation. Yung mga kaso-kaso sa korte, yung wife ko isa sa pinakabatang mediator na nababawasan yung trabaho ng mga judges because sa mediation pa lang nasa-settle na yung case. Yun ang kanyang expertise. Ako, expertise ko is counseling like this. So, hindi kami nagko-compete. Kumbaga, lalo pang nagsasama yung aming expertise. Nagiging isa. Ano yung aming goal? Ang goal namin is to have a brighter and progressive Philippines someday for our children and for our children's children. Someday, pag iniwanan namin yung mundong ito, hindi kami mag-worry na yung mga anak namin may mananakit na tao, sasaktan, agawan, nanakawan, no? Because marami kaming pinakalat na information sa next generation of future parents like you. Diba? Kaya mahalaga sa amin, one parent at a time or even group sessions, mahalaga sa amin yan dahil naturuan namin ng tamang mentality para makapag-produce naman sila ng tamang children o functional children. So, father naman, pag nagkaanak ka na dyan, you become father. Sa lalaki lang binigay yung title na yan. It's from the Greek word means pater. In Hebrew, original meaning is Aba, which means source, sustainer, provider, strength, protector. At yan din ang tawag ng ating Ama sa Langit, di ba? He wants us to call Him Father because yan pala yung meaning nun. Siya ang source of everything, siya ang sustainer, sinusustain niya, no? Sinisiguro niyang lagi may supply ng ating needs. Siya ang provider, siya ang source ng ating lakas. Pag wala tayong matakbuhan, hinang-hina na tayo, naubos na yung resources natin, siya na yung lalapitan natin. At ang protector natin. Okay? That's why, binigay din yung titulo na yan sa father na nagkaanak. At in-expect ngayon ng pamilya mo, dyan, ikaw yung source, ikaw yung nagdesisyon mag-asawa, ikaw yung nag-convince kay Sheena na maging asawa ka. Lahat ng magiging bata na lalabas sa bahay ninyo, ikaw yung pinanggalingan, ikaw yung source, ikaw yung magsusustain ng needs, siguraduhin mo laging may gatas sa bahay, laging may bigas sa bahay, laging may stock na pagkain, because you are the provider. You are the strength of the house. Ikaw yung magsisecure na hindi mapasok ng mga masasamang elements ang inyong tahanan. Ikaw yung protector ng asawa mo, ng mga anak mo. Okay? Kaya ganyan kalawak ang meaning ng father. Ganyan ang tunay na kahulugan ng father. Dapat kaya nga sila Sheena and the rest of the woman na nag-asawa, meron silang feeling na hindi nila control, hindi nila invento. Alam mo kung ano yun? Pera nila, pera lang nila. At yung pera mo dyan, ay pera din ni Sheena. Nasabi na ba sa iyo yan dyan? Kaya they also have the tendency to keep their money para sa kanila, for themselves. Kasi they are expecting you to provide for their needs, for her needs. Yan ang totoong reason dyan. And that is called natural creation. Hindi invento ni Sheena, hindi invento ng sinumang babae, but because you activated a law. Okay? So, punta na tayo sa Garden of Eden. Before we take a break, time check, 4:34. Do you want to take a break now? Water or snacks?
Okay.
Pwede? Break time?
Sige pa.
Sige, 10 minutes. Sige, 10 minutes break. See you again. Don't have to get out of the Zoom room. See you after 10 minutes.